Hey, John, welcome to the SABM podcast.
Thank you, Scott. Happy to be here today.
Yeah, great to have you. And I know that we connected a couple of months ago, and it's been great getting to know you. And you are the founder and the owner of Imprimis Financial. And I think what's really cool, certainly there's a lot of financial advisors out there.
Mhm.
First of all, congrats on making it in the industry. Very difficult industry for folks
Yeah.
to make it as far as you have in. So congrats. It's certainly definitely a tough road, and you did it. So want to congratulate you there. But you've got a very unique experience. You've worked with Fortune 500 CEOs, managed significant portfolios, and really excited to get your perspective today. So maybe John, just to start off, if you'd like to introduce yourself and maybe share what led you into financial advising and who you work with, types of clients you work with today, and what the types of problems you help solve.
Yeah, I'm a member of the class of 1986, a very distinguished class from West Point. We have a number of super successful guys, and I'm very proud of that. Our motto is "Courage Never Quits," and we're a very tight class. At the academy, I wasn't the best student, and I got my A's at the academy were in swimming, boxing, and personal finance. So I
Oh
didn't really
wow.
have much choice in this, but I was working towards a mechanical engineering degree. After the academy, went field artillery, went to Germany, 8th ID, into bomb holder for 3 years. After some schooling, of course. Then I branch transferred to go to the advanced course for ammunition ordnance, and that was right when the Gulf War was starting. So instead of deploying, they gave me command of a company that I was to form in at Hunter Army Airfield. So the headquarters company at Hunter, uh, which all the companies had deployed, but the headquarters company stayed back, and it had ballooned because of non-deployables. From TO&E of 100 people, they had 370 people. So what they did was they carved out the 270 that were not really supposed to be there, that really were supposed to be in the Gulf, and they gave them to me. So I got a company command very early, or fairly early, as a new captain, and did that during the Gulf War. After which I got out and went to NYU for an MBA in finance. I got hired by Barclays in an MBA rotational program during the summer, and then they rehired me afterwards. So I worked at Barclays for a couple of years, and then came down to Charlotte and worked for First Union for a short time as an interbank currency trader. So I developed, both at NYU and then later at Barclays, the ability to really handle financial things, and also a basis in technical trading, which I have. I think you'll see that I've kind of put all the things that I both like and am trained to do into my practice. With that, I moved down to Charlotte to trade for First Union, and that didn't work out for really anybody. Uh, we started with three traders, and I think I was the ninth one hired. They had ambitions of really growing, and then a couple of months later, they were back down to two or three traders. They had kind of gotten spanked in the market. So I was left to either go back to New York or to stay down in Charlotte, and I chose to stay down and start my practice. My wife was from Mooresville, right where the practice is today and where I've stayed, and it was the right thing for us to do. But I had to change and use what I had. So I got into the financial services industry, and have focused on a number of different things over the time, but learned a lot over the years. I've developed a knowledge of financial planning, of insurance planning, working with business owners for things like key man and buy-sell agreements, and then estate planning. Developed a relationship with Bank of America here in Charlotte, where I was one of three entities that was approved to do work within their bank and work with their private bank team on large estates. So I enjoyed a number of referrals to their clients that I probably couldn't have met by myself. So I was quite fortunate, and that gave me a good education on the financial planning and estate planning side. I also have, because of my technical background and just general interest in equities and particularly in disruptive technology, have grown a portion of my practice to help those folks interested in those kind of opportunities to to explore them and to manage money within them. Typical client for me, I would find the appropriate asset manager and put 90 to 95% of the money in with a full fiduciary like a JP Morgan or a BNY Mellon, and those are for the larger accounts. And then we have a number of different outlets for smaller accounts, but still significant. And then I would, for the ones who choose, I would offer the opportunity for them to allow me to, on a discretionary basis, manage a small amount of money, not enough to really harm them, but it would be a lot more of an aggressive stance. It would have high turnover. Typically, those accounts are going to be qualified accounts where the turnover is not going to hurt them on a taxation basis. I really like managing Roths within that, and I've created a model that right now has just under 20 different securities in it. It's fairly actively traded. I make probably 2 or 3 trades a week within it, making small adjustments. I use AI to help reduce the volatility of it. But in general, these are typically tech stocks. They're the NVIDIAs and the Teslas and Palantirs that so many people want to talk about these days, the ones that are really going to change the world, but they're also very volatile. So if they're not managed actively, can really have a volatile effect on the portfolio. So I try to dampen that a little bit so that it's more tolerable to people's ability to basically tolerate the swings in it.
Yeah, let's actually dig into that a little bit. That'd be fun to talk about. So, I mean, the companies that you mentioned are some of the most lucrative, best performing companies. I mean, just from a income statement and balance sheet perspective, companies that have grown every year for many years in a row, that have very strong gross margins, that from a valuation perspective look really good. So, like, what's your but maybe some of them are like, have a super high PE or so whatever, right? And so
Right.
not all of them, but so how do you kind of manage around that, or what's your angle, or what's your strategy with like an NVIDIA or Palantir, like one of those types of companies?
Yeah, I can see. I mean, your reaction to my mentioning those is, I see the excitement, and that's really one of the reasons why I offer it to the clients. Is these are the companies that people want to talk about. These are the companies that scare people for the future. So what I do with my background coming from NYU and understanding balance sheets and income statements and statements of cash flow is to dig into a company before I would even choose it within the portfolio and understand the fundamentals of the company. Then what I would do is not generally invest until I found a technical entry point that made sense, where we see moving averages in the right place, and we see volumes indicating the direction. So I've got some ability to be able to pick them at the right time. Regarding there's less than 20 securities in there. I can't possibly manage more than that, except that I do get help from AI. So that does make me probably 10 times more productive than an individual person trying to do that. Also have a team. I don't have an investment team of advisors, but I do have a lot of support within the practice in different areas, including wealth management, where we have three other people that help me. So
Gotcha. Yeah. So you picked some really good ones, and it's just like, hey, when's the right time to buy these, right? And to maybe even sell them. So cool. Yeah. I just wanted to kind of ask a follow-up question there. Pretty cool strategy. Who do you enjoy working with most today? I'm sure that it's evolved over the years.
yeah,
You've
yeah.
worked with all different types of people and solved all sorts of different types of problems and challenges and helped people achieve different types of goals. I guess as you've grown your business over the years, what have you found is like, hey, I really enjoy working with this type of person or solving like this, helping this person solve this type of problem or
Right.
achieve this type of goal.
Yeah, I think I would say big thinkers. One of the reasons why I'm real excited to be, supportive of this group is I think you might have said it to me, but it's something that I think all the time. If I could only deal with, originally I started just with classmates, but I would expand that to all service academy grads. The idea, if I could make the practice where I just got to work with service academy graduates, where we have such a common background and common experience and a trust, where pretty much everybody's going to know that hopefully that I'm competent and I care about them and I care about the academies and I care about making sure that they know the downsides as much as the upsides. When I'm dealing with my clients, I'm not selling in as much as trying to get on the same side of the table and solve problems, and that's what I enjoy, and I enjoy nothing more than dealing with classmates and other service academy graduates. Regarding the solutions that we provide, they're very varied, and that really is one of my joys in the business. As a currency trader, it's you're buying and selling all day long. You're doing the same thing every day. It's very exciting and fast paced, but it's really kind of monotonous when you get down to it. Where if I deal with a business owner, I have to sit down and ask the right questions and find out really what all the issues and goals are. I like to say I try to help my clients crystallize their objectives and then deploy strategies and world-class products to try to achieve them. And that to me is different with every client. And that's exciting. It makes life and the practice very interesting.
Yeah. And I guess, you mentioned maybe before we hit record today, and certainly in our first conversations, that you've worked with, some Fortune 500 CEOs, people that have, portfolios of, in the billions, a couple of billion.
Yeah.
Certainly we're all striving to hit those
Yeah.
hit
Yeah.
those numbers, right? But like, what I guess what are the common threads for somebody that's striving? Like, hey, they wanna reach that level someday.
Yeah.
What are some of the common threads that you see amongst them of maybe how they think, and
Well,
maybe for somebody that is approaching that level that might be listening, or know somebody that's at that level, what are the unique challenges also that
yeah.
they might have?
Well, to clarify a little bit, my work with that level of wealth was related to my relationship with Bank of America. Bank of America's private bank is an asset manager themselves.
Hmm.
So in my role in those relationships, I was more of a legacy planner. I worked on their team with a relationship manager, a wealth strategist, and sometimes an accountant for the client and an attorney. So I wasn't managing money back then. That's been more of a recent development that I've really focused on because of my interest in the disruptive technologies. But regarding your question, what I would say is that all too often clients will have someone that drives them to do planning, and they sometimes don't get the whole team together. And the planning can best be done as a team, whether you have new wealth that you're finding yourself all of a sudden more successful than you had been previously. It's important to make sure that you have people that you trust around you, and people who can integrate all of your planning, kind of setting up, even from an early start with just a couple of $1 million. You'd want to look forward and have a vision towards things like, what can I do regarding creating a family office? How can I integrate my advisors so that they work together? Because if you're leaning on one advisor within the platform, meaning you have a strong accountant and that's your main advisor, or even a financial person, if that person is the main advisor, somebody's got to quarterback the team, and that's fine, but you have to have a team, and that's what I would recommend for people. And I refer other professionals, but oftentimes I'm invited to be on the team, and sometimes I'm not the main quarterback. But I'm someone that oftentimes you don't have to write a check to every time you pick up the phone. So I'm kind of preferable to a lot of my clients, because if they pick up their phone and call their accountant or their attorney, a lot of times they might get a bill for that.
Yeah, yeah, they save themselves $1,000 an hour. So that's
Yeah.
or whatever it costs for that. I appreciate you sharing that. So the team approach, and then just having the team members talk together, right? And so super important. What would you say? So I guess you touched on AI a little bit earlier as it relates to kind of the trading aspect. Like, what are there any other ways that you're leveraging AI, or what would you say also to the person that says, "Oh, I don't need an advisor because I'm using AI
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
to like build my own portfolio," or like I guess how are you yeah, it sounds like you're very adaptive to AI, right? And you're using it for yourself. And so I'm just curious of like other ways that you're using it, and so
Yeah, there's
yeah.
two main ways. I mean, one, while I do I have the main stocks in mind. Sometimes a client will recommend a security, and I will look at it, and if it looks good, then I will do the research on it, which typically takes me about 10 hours just to dig into all the financials and everything. So I'll use the AI for that. Also, when I have the portfolio, I go back in to the AI and I ask them technical questions about my portfolio, about my model,
Hmm.
and ask the AI for recommendations. So, I mean, for folks that are familiar with investing, we talk about a beta. We talk about an R squared, which is the correlation coefficient of a security to a model. So it'll help me dampen the volatility of the portfolio by picking something that's not correlated with the portfolio, but is also meets my criteria. So that's within the portfolio. Outside of the portfolio, what I'm finding is that when I design solutions for business owners, I can use AI, and I had sent you a couple of examples of this, where we can load illustrations from, like, particularly with on insurance solutions, where I like to super fund policies to benefit on the asset accumulation side and minimize the percentage cost of insurance. I can feed an illustration into an AI and give it prompts, and then compare it to alternatives very quickly. Less than a year ago, I would have to probably take 4 or 5 hours to develop a spreadsheet and a PowerPoint presentation to illustrate point that I'm making and the differences between the choices of a business owner. And now I can do that in the matter of, less than a half hour. I can put something together. So, talk about productive. I mean, in some ways it scares us all that we'll be out of a job, but until then, it seems like it's just making us so much more productive.
Yeah, yeah, and you're supercharging yourself and leveraging the technology. And again, probably for the folks that have a net worth that, you know, where it's somebody that you can help. Again, the team perspective, I think you can't really let use AI for, right? Like,
Right.
so having those conversations with between all of the different team members, whether it's the estate planner, the accountant, and all of the other folks that are on the team, again, is super important. But it's really cool to see that you are leveraging it as well to supercharge yourself and, make decisions, help make better decisions even faster for your clients.
Well, and I don't want to give you the impression that I work only with billionaires, because that's certainly not true. I like to grow with my clients, and I find particularly, if I can sit down with another academy grad and learn about the business and ask the right questions, we can, wherever they are in the development of their practice and of their overall wealth, crystallize those objectives and come up with solutions that will fit them, and then adapt over time as they potentially grow into a person who might need a family office to manage. And really, I think I would set myself apart in being able to manage liquidity and focus on taxes. So many, there's only so much you can do on the investment side without getting very aggressive. But if I can create a strategy that is not subject to current taxes and delay those taxes, or potentially eliminate the taxes, then I'm kind of creating alpha, but not from the investment side, but from the type of account and the usage of the strategies that I recommend.
Right. What would you say are some of your most important goals as we just started the second quarter here in 2026? What are some of your most important goals, maybe short term, as you look out over the next 90 or 120 days? But then maybe also like long term goals, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, where would you like to take this?
Yeah, I'm focused on growing my assets under management right now. It's historically, I've been in the business a long time, but I didn't always focus, basically because of the Bank of America situation, on assets. But I'm really enjoying that. I feel I have a lot of knowledge and experience on the estate planning side and the business planning side. But I really enjoy the asset management and running this model, and I'm going to create another model more for non-qualified accounts that has to be a little bit less, have a little bit less of a turnover and be sensitive on a tax side. So as far as my goals, for the company, it's to add, well, this year at least $100 million to the assets under management. And I think that's a reasonable goal. And in focusing on that, I'm going to run into a lot of planning. Some that might want to have a fee-based planning, which I'm able to do. I don't charge fees to all my clients, but yeah, if there's a significant planning involved in it, there could be it could be fee-based. And then also, that runs me into estate design. And estate design is not only about taxable estates, which, taxable thresholds are pretty liberal these days, but we're one election away from those being clamped down. One thing that I would say that is interesting to me in the market is, in dealing with wealthy people, it used to be that they would focus on their legacy and minimizing taxes when they pass, and getting their wealth to their heirs, or wherever they want it to go. I'm finding now that you're finding people my age. I'm 61, and maybe anyone a little bit older than me. they're now having to look at their children and say, look, my children did well. They're well educated. They're professional. But what do I do if their jobs are disrupted? What if the economy gets to the point where these jobs are replaced? How do I create and plan to be able to assist my kid or kids through a situation where they may need some help well before I pass, and there's almost nothing they can do about it? How do I prepare them as far as the choices that they might make? My son, two of my sons work for banks in Charlotte, and my daughter works in private equity in San Francisco. They're all doing well, but I can see a future where they could get cut out of their positions. So how do I set them up not only financially or help them financially, but also informationally? How do I make sure that they've thought about maybe starting their own business? Can they use AI agents to start businesses and make that transition a little bit more easy? So I'm finding that in talking to people that used to be just about estate planning, leaving their money when they pass, that now it's how do we plan on best helping the kids?
All right. And what connections and what types of people are most valuable for you? So for the folks listening today, what types of folks are you looking to connect with, and what conversations are most valuable to help you achieve your goals? And then maybe even if you're stuck or have a challenge, how can we help?
Well, I certainly enjoy the business owner market. I mean, every business is somewhat different. The challenges that business owners have for liquidity, for tax management, for employee management. I mean, a business that, say a business has a qualified plan, and it might be a small business under 50 employees, and they have a 401k or something that's qualified. Oftentimes that business owner does not or will not benefit to replace the same percentage of his income that the employees are able to replace in their 401k because of top-heavy rules or just other reasons, perhaps the nature of the workforce. Working with that person to create a non-qualified deferred comp plan for themselves or for key people in the organization that is fully discretionary and perhaps does more than one thing at the same time. Perhaps it funds a buy-sell agreement at the same time as it's providing what will eventually be a retirement plan for them. That's exciting to me, and it doesn't always start out that way. It just grows into that as my relationship with the client grows and things become appropriate as I identify goals with the client that develop over time.
All right. And John, what's the best way for folks to learn more about what you do and get in touch and connect with you?
Yeah, I've got a website. It's imprimis-financial.com. We can make sure everybody gets that, I'm sure, but it gives you a pretty good outline of of many of the things that we do. It also has a bunch of tools and calculators that can give people some help, even if they don't feel like they want to give us a call. But obviously the phone numbers are on there, and it'll give you a feel. And I would encourage folks that to reach out, even if you just have a question. I mean, if an academy grad gives me a call, I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to help them, even if it's just a question and they're set on their account. So give me a call if you want to talk about NVIDIA or Tesla. I'm real big into what's going on in Tesla. I spend a lot of time in investigating and staying current on that and the developments that they have. It's such an interesting company. Obviously not generating the kind of current income that the potential is, but it's certainly topical these days. People love talking about that company, either whether you're for it or against it. It's quite interesting.
All right, John. Well, sounds good, my man. And so we'll link to your website and also your LinkedIn profile, if that's okay, in the show notes. So after
Yeah.
people listen to this, they can scroll down and connect and reach out. And yeah, thanks for being a guest on the podcast today. And again, it's been great getting to know you over the last couple of months. And here's to an awesome 2026.
Yeah. Thank you again for the opportunity and beat Navy. Thanks, Scott.